got the LS Swap G35 done, and it ripped.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another abnormal automotive video, and today we are doing something very exciting because it's the final countdown G35 build. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you things that I've recorded while I was doing the project, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you what it looks like right now and talk about some of the things that I have changed already and some of the things that am going to change in the future. So if that sounds interesting to you, let's get straight into the video.
Flashback.
Okay guys, it's been a little while, but I got a lot done. So obviously we got the engine tossed in, and I've done a few things. The intake and throttle body and stuff hasn't been mounted, but I figured I'd kind of go through what I did already. Come over here and look at the exhaust. The exhaust is quite tight, and I had to shave off the top of it to bend it inwards so that it would clear this. Well, actually no, bend it out. So this side, if you're using the cheap eBay or Amazon shorty headers, you have to trim the top of them and bend them upwards to clear, to just give yourself more space. So that way all you need is like a really short 90, and then you can basically shoot your exhaust straight out. And on the right side, what you have to do is shave off the underside of it and bring the exhaust in so it doesn't hit the steering rack. And then oil relocation kit, I got the hoses and stuff all mounted. I'm just waiting for adapter so that I can put it on instead of a barbed fitting. And then here's the serpentine belt system. Give you guys a quick look, just kind of give you guys what I got going on. I'm hoping that this will work, and I don't see why it shouldn't. And then I turned it and everything works. And then here's my engine mounts. That's how I did that. Hopefully that one bolt is strong enough, but that's what the stock one did, so that's what I'm doing. What else? Yes, so I was originally trying to use a LS1 truck style crank pulley, but it's just not gonna work because there's not enough space, even with me pushing the engine back 4 1/8 inch. And then I had to smash this, you know, pro level clearance. But yeah, that's what we got so far. I got the fuel pump wired up, actually, using the Walbro, as you guys know. I got all this wired up. I'm actually gonna use a braided line. I thought I could use this, but it's just too small for what I'm looking for, so I gotta add another fuel line in. Basically, I just put a relay right there. There's a bolt, and then I bolted the ground to the chassis with that bolt. And then basically you just spliced into the power, splice into power with your appropriate wire, splice into power. And the fuel pump is actually already grounded, so you don't need to worry about that. It's grounded somewhere else, so all you need is a power line. So all you need is power, and then I have power using, I believe, 10 gauge going all the way up to the battery, and then I have a switch signal going to the fuel pump of the terminator system. Gotta vacuum this crap out. And then yeah, so basically just follow instructions of the relay and of the Holly system, and I'm pretty sure anybody can figure that out. So that's that, and then I routed it along this and then up into the engine bay. And then, oh, check out this. What the heck? Oh! This is where I decided to mount my ECU. As you can see, it fits quite perfectly. Still got a little bit of storage over here. But yeah, I think that's a really nice area to put the ECU. And then it wires up, and then it goes all the way over here where everything fits through. And then the last thing is throttle body. Well, throttle body, but throttle cable. This was a factory hole. I mean, it's cutting this a little bit, but I think it should be fine since it's metal underneath and this is not moving. But basically I have a thing, it's gonna go like this, and then it goes through here, and then Don't know if you're going to be able to tell that, but drill the hole right there, and then it goes down. And then I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with that, but it goes down right where the pedal is. Good to go. Probably gonna bolt the intake on next and then see where we go from there, but I'll give you guys an update when I get more things done.
End of flashback.
All right, we are back in current times and a lot of things have changed. So what we're gonna do is pop the hood and take a look at this. So this is my current LS swap build. As you can tell, a couple of things have changed since I last shown you. Let me just go over the couple of things that I have changed. The first thing that I have changed is the accessory belt bracket system. Instead of using my home built system, I went with the ICT build. Because I was having serpentine belt problems and it just looked a bit too home built for my personal taste, but I mean it worked relatively well, but this one is just better. Okay, so over here I have the oil catch can where the remote oil filter was at, because I did not want oil spilling back into the intake manifold. Personally, I wouldn't go with this cheapy Amazon one just because, well, it doesn't, one, it's too small, it fills up too quick, and two, I just don't think it's working that well. Maybe I have it plumbed wrong, but either ways, I think I'm going to upgrade to a different one. And then as far as the oil filter relocation, we have placed it all the way down there. And no, the tires do not rub. And yes, I know it's probably not the best place to put it, but I am going to be doing something about that, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. And then the other thing that I have done is I have moved the fuel pressure regulator onto the firewall instead of in this general area, because it was a little bit easier to get the fuel system plumbed out by having it here, and plus with the oil, with the fuel filter right here, it just ended up to work a little bit better. So you got the fuel filter here, goes in here, goes through the rail, and the regulator regulates the fuel and then it sends it back. So that system just ended up working a bit better. But besides that, I think everything else is the same. Now, the two things that I would change, because currently this build is fully functioning, everything works, drives, runs great. It's just super fun. But there's three things that I still am going to change. Now, the first one is, as you know, is the oil catch can, because it doesn't seem like it's all that great. Now, the second one is, as we talked about, the oil filter, but that has to relate with the oil pan. So I have purchased another oil pan for this thing because the current oil pan, well, I don't know if you can tell, it doesn't quite clear the sway bar, even though I've bashed it a few times. And on top of that, there's no oil dipstick. Well, there is an oil dipstick hole, but the dipstick doesn't fit in there all that well, and plus it leaks a tiny bit. So what I'm going to do is remove that oil pan, get another one, put that one on that allows me to have a oil dipstick in an area that is more convenient. And on top of that, it will allow me to have a oil filter bolt, or have an oil filter twist straight onto the oil pan, so that I don't have such a long delay for the oil to get through the filter and back into the engine, because I have noticed that it takes a little bit of time for the oil pressure to build up, and I'm just not that comfortable with it. Okay, so some of you guys might be interested in what I did in terms of my gauges, so why don't we come over here and take a look. So in terms of what I did for my gauges, I'll turn this on. You can see things light up. So for my speedometer, the current speedometer still works, and for my fuel level, it mostly works. I think I messed something up when I put the fuel pump in. I like jammed the fuel level bob, I think it's called, and now it's just off by a quarter of a tank. So on when I'm at a quarter, I'm on E. That's the only thing different from regular, because I definitely screwed that part up. But if you were to install the fuel pump correctly, then you shouldn't have that problem, which I mean it's not big enough deal for me to go back in there and fix. So I've just left it. And then in terms of everything else, the tack, I mean I can get work, but it's just not worth the effort, as well as the temperature, because I have everything on this tiny little screen, and when I'm cruising around I don't need things to be very big, so I have a bunch of different things. If I go into, like, say I want to go drifting and some of those things don't matter as much, and like things like oil pressure works, I just go back in here, go to -1, and bam, I got 4 big gauges. I got oil pressure, RPM, fuel pressure, coolant, temperature, and then that tells me everything I need to know. So I mean that works really well, and I don't feel the need to switch to anything else. And then of course I got my 2-step button right there. I'd be ashamed if I didn't show you guys, so let's go back to -2 so you guys can see everything. So what you gotta do is you gotta cycle it on. It gives you 5 seconds for the fuel to prime, and then everything turns on, and then this thing fires right back up. A little cold right now. I'm gonna let this thing warm up a little bit, and then I'll give you guys some 2-step. Alright, so things have warmed up a little bit. I'm gonna press this button and give you some 2-step. Now mind you, I have mufflers on, so it's probably not going to sound that nasty, but I'll give you some anyways. So it looks like the 2-step is only set to 2200 RPM, which is pretty lame, but that was the only RPM that I could launch from, because I did a little bit of drag racing and I couldn't get this thing to stick with 2-step, besides turning the 2-step way down. So I definitely have to get some stickier tires, but let's turn this off. Yeah, so besides that, I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it informative, entertaining. Let us know if there is anything else you want to see us do with this car or any other cars, and that should conclude. So I will see you guys in the next video.